The skill that made humans unstoppable. Humans were not supposed to win, not if you judge the ancient world by claws, teeth, speed, size, or strength. Put an early human alone on the open land, and almost everything looked more dangerous. Lions had jaws built for killing, wolves had speed and teamwork, bears had muscle, mammoths had power that could flatten a body in seconds. Even small animals had sharper senses, faster reflexes, better hearing, better smell, better night vision. A human body looked almost unfairly unfinished. Soft skin, weak bite, no armor, no horns, no venom, no natural weapon that made other creatures tremble. And yet somehow this fragile animal became the one that changed the entire planet. The secret was not one tool. It was not one weapon. It was not just fire, spears, language, or hunting. The skill that made humans unstoppable was learning. Not simple learning, like touching a hot coal and never doing it again. Many animals can learn that way. Human learning became something far more dangerous. Humans learned from each other. They watched, copied, improved, remembered, taught, and passed knowledge forward. That was the real superpower. A lion cub learns how to hunt, but it does not invent a better lion. A bird builds a nest, but most birds build it the same way their ancestors did. Humans were different. One human discovered how to sharpen a stone. Another made it sharper. Another tied it to a stick. Another learned which wood worked best. Another taught the children. And suddenly, a single idea did not die with one person. It became a group weapon. It became culture. It became memory that could walk. Imagine an ancient camp after sunset. The fire is burning low, sparks rising into the dark like tiny stars trying to escape. Around it, children watch an elder shape a stone tool. The elder does not just make the tool silently. They slow down. They show the angle. They tap the edge carefully. They point out the stone that breaks cleanly and the stone that crumbles uselessly. A child copies the movement and fails. The edge snaps wrong. The elder corrects them. Again, again, again. That moment may look small, but it is one of the biggest moments in human history, because the child does not need to discover everything alone. They inherit another mind's experience. They start life already standing on invisible shoulders. This changed the rules of survival. Every generation did not have to begin from zero. A wolf is born with instincts. A human is born into a library made of people. How to find water, how to track animals, how to make fire, which berries heal and which berries kill, where the herds pass in spring, how to stitch hides, how to read clouds, how to set traps, how to calm a frightened child, how to remember the way home. Knowledge became a second skeleton, stronger than bone, carried inside the group. And because humans could learn from one another, one person's mistake could save everyone else. If someone ate the wrong plant and died, the lesson could be remembered. If someone crossed thin ice and vanished, the warning could become a story. If someone found a better hunting strategy, the whole group became better hunters. Pain became instruction, survival became tradition, even fear became useful when humans turned it into teaching. This is where stories became powerful. Ancient stories were not just entertainment, they were survival machines wearing the clothes of mystery. A tale about a child taken by darkness might teach children not to wander beyond the fire. A story about a monster in the river might warn people about crocodiles, floods, or dangerous crossings. A legend about a forbidden valley might preserve the memory of a real disaster. Humans wrap knowledge in emotion because emotional things are easier to remember. A dry warning can fade. A terrifying story sticks to the mind like burrs on fur. And that meant the dead could still teach the living. The past could speak at night. Learning also made humans flexible. This mattered because the world kept changing. Forests turned into grasslands. Rivers dried. Ice advanced. Animals migrated. Storms destroyed camps. Food vanished. Groups that only knew one way to live were trapped when the world changed. But humans could adapt because they could gather new knowledge quickly. Near the ocean, they learned fish, shells, boats, tides, and nets. In cold lands, they learned fur clothing, shelters, stored food, and bone needles. In grasslands, they learned herd movements, throwing weapons, and long-distance tracking. In forests, they learned plants, traps, climbing, and hidden paths. Humans did not need one perfect body for every environment. They had one adaptable mind connected to many other minds. That is why humans could live in deserts, jungles, mountains, icy plains, islands, caves, and coastlines. The body stayed mostly the same, but the knowledge changed shape. Culture became our fur in the cold, our claws in the hunt, our map in unknown land, our shield in danger. And then came the most explosive part. Humans did not only copy, they improved. This is the difference between learning and becoming unstoppable. Copying keeps knowledge alive. Improving makes knowledge grow. A spear was useful, but someone noticed a sharper point pierced better. Someone else discovered fire hardening the tip made it stronger. Someone learned that throwing from higher ground gave an advantage. Someone realized several hunters could drive prey toward hidden spears. Someone invented a spear thrower. Later, someone invented the bow. Each idea became a stepping stone to another idea. Human progress did not move like a single leap. It moved like sparks jumping from fire to dry grass, spreading faster with every mind it touched. This is why one invention could create another. Fire led to cooked food, warmth, protection, better tools, stronger social life at night. Stone tools led to butchering animals, cutting hides, shaping wood, making better weapons. Sewing led to fitted clothes, which helped humans survive colder regions. Better shelters allowed people to stay longer in harsh places. More survival meant more children, more elders, more teachers, more ideas. Learning multiplied itself. The more humans knew, the more they could discover. The more they discovered, the more they could teach. It became a loop. And once that loop started turning, nothing on Earth had seen anything quite like it. Even the weakest members of a human group became important because knowledge gave value beyond strength. An elder who could no longer run might remember where food could be found during drought. A child might notice animal tracks adults missed. A skilled toolmaker might change the success of an entire hunt. A healer might know which plant reduced pain or infection. A storyteller might keep the group united during fear. Human survival stopped depending only on the strongest body. It began depending on the shared mind. That made humans strange in the animal world. A group could protect injured members, feed children longer, care for elders, and still gain an advantage because those people carried information. In many species, weakness is simply weakness. In humans, even weakness could carry wisdom. Of course, learning also required language. You can teach by showing, but language turns teaching into lightning. With words, humans could explain things that were not present. They could describe a water hole over the ridge, a predator seen yesterday, a storm coming tomorrow, a hunt planned for next week, a mistake made years ago. Language let humans move knowledge through time. It let the future be discussed before it arrived. That is almost magical when you think about it. Other animals react to the world as it happens. Humans gathered around fires and rehearsed tomorrow. They imagined danger before danger appeared. They planned hunts before seeing prey. They taught children about animals the children had never met. They remembered ancestors the young had never known. A human group was not just a group of bodies. It was a network of memories, warnings, plans, jokes, names, promises, and instructions. That network made them terrifyingly powerful. A mammoth could defeat one human. It could defeat 10 careless humans. But could it defeat a group that had studied its tracks, watched its habits, planned an ambush, built weapons, assigned roles, taught the young, remembered past failures, and returned with a better strategy? That is where intelligence became more dangerous than muscle. Muscle wins the moment. Learning wins the generations. The ancient world was full of animals stronger than humans, but strength usually dies with the body. Knowledge can escape death. It moves from mouth to ear, from hand to hand, from parent to child, from elder to tribe. That is the skill that turned humans from prey into planners, from scavengers into hunters, from wanderers into builders, from campfire circles into civilizations. And the most fascinating part is that we are still using the same power today. Every book, every classroom, every video, Every recipe, every map, every warning sign, every tutorial, every scientific discovery is part of the same ancient chain. When you learn something from someone you have never met, you are doing what humans have done since the first sparks lit the first dark camps. You are carrying a piece of another mind. You are becoming more than one person. That is why humans became unstoppable. Not because we were fearless, because we were often afraid. Not because we were strong, because we often were not. Not because we always knew what to do, because we failed countless times. Humans became unstoppable because we could turn experience into knowledge, knowledge into teaching, teaching into culture, and culture into power. We learned how to learn together, and once that happened, the world changed forever.